Hey everyone, my name is Dr. Robert Duff. I am a psychologist and self-help author from Southern California, and I kind of feel like I say that intro different every time. Hopefully that doesn't bother you. Today's video, I just wanted to do a quick little sort of video diary about my experience getting round one of the COVID-19 vaccination. So I did that yesterday. I got the Pfizer BioNTech, I think, vaccine. I know right now here in the U.S. there's the Pfizer vaccine and then there's the Moderna vaccine. So I got the Pfizer one, and I just want to talk about my experience because I know a lot of people are going to be sort of in the running to get the vaccine soon and want to hear about what it's like and all of that. I got the vaccine before a lot of other people. They did a tier system. I'm in tier 1, B, or C, so like the second or third part of the first tier. I'm not like a first responder. I don't work in a hospital, but I, as a practicing psychologist, do still see people in person. When I do therapy, I'm doing it like this. This is the same view that my therapy patients get. If I have any therapy patients watching, hello. Good to see you. But this is the view that they get. I do all my therapy online, but I also do what's called neuropsychological assessment, which I've talked about on my channel before, but that requires in-person testing. You can do it online, but I just don't like to, especially because the people that I'm working with are primarily elderly or have some sort of cognitive impairment, and it's hard for them to operate the computers, and it's already limited because they're supposed to be in-person tests. So I'm not really messing with the online testing. I'm doing that in person, so mostly in the office, but sometimes I'm also required to go on site, such as in a jail or a home or even like an assisted living facility. There was one circumstance where earlier on in the pandemic, I had to go to an assisted living facility, and I started refusing after that because basically I had a mask on, but all the patients did not have masks on, and they were just lining the hallways in their wheelchairs and walkers and stuff, and I had to like kind of run through to get through the whole crowd and stuff. So that was kind of a sketchy situation. And for all those reasons, sometimes I have to be in a person's house or just a lot of in-person contact. These appointments are typically 3-4 hours long. It's a lot of time to be across from somebody, even with protective equipment. I'm using a mask, sometimes a mask and a face shield, and they're using a mask. But it's a little bit hairy. COVID is real, and it's become very, very close to my sphere. Not in terms of people like geographically close to me, but friends of mine have gotten extremely ill from it. I've had patients die before I was able to see them for testing because of it. Lots of, if you go 1 degree further, family of patients that I have, tons of impact there, deaths, illnesses, things like that. So it's something that I'm very concerned about because I have really bad asthma. I always have, like throughout my entire life. I'm supposed to be taking daily strong steroids for my lungs. And so I'm not going to fare well if I get it, just being completely honest. I try to take care of myself and exercise and all of that, but I don't want to catch this thing. And so for all those reasons, I was like, yes, vaccinate me, please. And I'm going to include a video in the description, or a link to a video in the description by Dr. Mike, who you're probably familiar with. He's a popular medical doctor on YouTube that does reaction videos and interviews and stuff. And he did an interview with, gosh, I'm forgetting her name, but she's another doctor. She's, I think, a immunologist, Stanford maybe. I don't want to hang my hat on that, but I'm doing an interview with her about how the vaccines work, how the RNA vaccines work, and it clears up a lot of misconceptions that people have about it. It does not work by inserting the virus into you. There's no live virus there. It's just sort of kind of hacking your body into making antibodies. So learn more from that interview with Dr. Mike. But yeah, my experience was basically, we have in my local area, it took a lot of figuring out because I don't work for an organization, like a big organization. I'm in a private practice. And so, I couldn't just go to my, the head of my department and say, hey, where can I get the vaccine? I had to do the searching on my own. And that took a lot of calls. It took like 5 calls to figure out the right area. And then we have a website that was a kind of a public health website. It was called like Ventura County Recovers. And so I went there and it said, hey, sign up for your vaccine if you're in one of these tiers. And so it's pretty easy. I made an appointment. And it was for 9:30 yesterday morning, and they were doing the vaccines at the fairgrounds near me. So there were basically big convention buildings. They would normally do, shows or conventions or different things in there, but in this case, they converted it to just do vaccine distribution. So I get there, and there's a big long line, and basically what I did was I had to figure out where the other 9:30 appointment people were and insert myself into the back of those people in line. So behind the 9:30s, but in front of the 9:40s and so on. So it took probably half an hour to get through the line and get in. They were verifying, credentials to make sure that you were meeting that criteria. So I showed them my psychology license and an identification. And there were actually a few people that were either trying to kind of sneak in or people that just misunderstood the tiers and were not, living in a long-term care facility or were not, healthcare workers. Some people who were really trying to expand the definition of what a healthcare worker was and stuff like that were actually turned away, which is, unfortunate. I wish that we could just all get it right now. But, if you're trying to sort of, weasel your way in there, be careful about that. Maybe wait a few weeks for it to be more broadly distributed, which hopefully it will be soon. So get through the line. They check me in, and then I go to another line to get into the building. Once you get into the building, I sat down with somebody who had a computer. They, looked at some of my information, verified the appointment, made sure that I got a little bit of information about the vaccine. There was like a QR code thing. They wanted me to take a picture of it to make sure that I could look that information up afterward. And then they gave me my little, I'm not going to show you all the information, but my little card with the vaccination from the CDC information on there, and told me which one I was going to be getting, which is the Pfizer vaccine. So once they checked me in, then they had me go sit in an area and wait for one of the people who are giving the vaccination to open up. And basically, they had the chairs all distanced, approximately 6 feet apart, and we're sitting in there in these different sort of letter groups, A, B, C, D, etc. And then along the perimeter of the place, all of the vaccine givers were at their own table, and so they would handle somebody, and then they would stop, clean up all of that, and then they would say, okay, go ahead, next person, and then I'd get up and walk all the way over to their table, sit down, and start that process. Getting the vaccine was very, very easy. It's literally the least painful injection I've ever gotten. Like I'm not just saying that to minimize it, to make sure that you guys go get it or anything, but like I thought that maybe I had there was a pre-step or something, like, I don't know, maybe he was just poking around and not actually inserting the needle, but I was like, oh, you're done. Wow. It was like the thinnest needle ever. And so on that day, that, or that moment, that was it. It was like, you go up there, give them your card, they verify some information, you write your name down on it. They, rule out any reasons you wouldn't be able to get the vaccine, and then they stick you. And then they put you in sort of a different area to wait for 15 minutes to make sure you don't have a reaction. And that was it. They gave me a number that I had to text for the CDC to schedule the follow-up, because I had to get a second dose in the next few weeks here. And that was it for the actual vaccination part. In terms of side effects, I didn't have too many. I came home and I had work that day, so I got my vaccine at about 10 o'clock. And at 12, I had to start doing therapy. And I had like 4 or 5 therapy sessions online back to back. And I got through them just fine. I did notice that at about noon, when I started working, I had some fatigue. It's sort of just a general. You can tell your body's doing some sort of immune response. It's a little bit hard to describe, but it's like there was heat. I took my temperature and I did not have a fever, but I felt a little bit hot, like kind of just throughout the body. And then just a general, I was like, whoa, I'm a little out of it. Like I feel like kind of just like a little muscle tired all the way around. But that was it. I wasn't doing anything very strenuous, so I was able to continue working. And then within about an hour or two, it faded away. I, had like 15 minutes between clients, and I laid down for 5 minutes and then got back up and went back to work. And then afterward, in the evening, I had maybe another like 30 minutes where I was like, oh wow, I'm actually pretty tired. And I slept pretty well that night. But aside from that, that was really it for the side effects. I didn't have any headache. I didn't have any nausea. I didn't have any fever, any really, significant effects. I have heard that with the second dose, sometimes you do have a more robust immune response. And it is good when you have, when you do have some effects happening, that means that your body's doing something. So, I am now, 1 vaccination into the set. I'm really looking forward to getting the second one. We don't know if this stops anything related to the spread of it, if I can carry it and spread it to other people. So this doesn't mean that I can stop wearing any protective equipment, masking, all of that. But it will ease my conscience. We have me, my wife, and our 2 kids living here currently. And while I don't want any of us to catch COVID, realistically, they're going to do a lot better with it than I am, as weird as it is to say. I don't like thinking that way, but it's the truth. And so this will help ease some of the fears of, being able to go out and do what I do. And of course, this will allow me to do more if I do need to do more house calls, facilities, different things like that. I actually haven't been, there's a case that I'm supposed to be seeing in a jail. I haven't been able to get in there because they've been having COVID outbreaks and stuff like that. So this may actually help me be able to be a little bit more forward with that sort of stuff as well. So really excited about it. Like I said, if you have any concerns or, feel hesitant about the vaccine or confused about it, I'll put that link in the description for Dr. Mike's video. I think it's a really good job. He did a really good job sort of just getting to the point, getting the information that you need, both the information that we know and what we don't know. And I think that's it. If you have any questions about it, please drop them in the comments, because I'm happy to answer, anything about it. I think I included most of the relevant information, but if you have any questions about it, or if you've gotten the vaccination and experienced anything different, feel free to comment that below as well. So thanks, guys. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Subscribe if you want to see more from me. Bye.